All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is having fun at the Schoolbox Meetup. And let's get ready for more fun with Matthew Samble, who is one of our co-founders and a creative director, as you can see from the slide. So Matt, he will show us how to pass customer success with GIFs. Over on to you, Matt.
Thank you, Inda. Hello, everyone. I'm Matt, and as Inda's pointed out, I'm talking on customer success. The title of the presentation assigned to me was Customer Success, GIF Fun with Matt Samble. And it was daunting to me to see that I was expected to go for 50 minutes of just GIFs. We'll see how we go. I actually do talk about things going on in support and success, but I'll give 50 minutes my best shot. But we might finish early for a special, early Friday finish. So thanks everyone for turning up. This pic is of me. I was at a Frozen party on Saturday, and Anna painted my face. Elsa had brought her sister Anna. Elsa was doing magic tricks whilst Anna was painting faces. So yeah, I'm Matt, and this, my team wanted me to focus on GIF fun. So I've got some, as Inda said, a 350 megabyte presentation of GIFs. So yeah, I'm a director at Alaris, so buddies with Sean and James. I figured we got a pic of us from 10 years ago. I met Sean, a little bit about how we all came together. G'day, Sean. My wife Sarah, her bro is besties with Sean. And so I met Sean, I think you were finishing VCE, maybe 1999, and I was into design and web design at that time, working as a graphic designer. Sean was into web development, so we started hanging out. And a few years later, Sean introduced me to James. Sean and James are working together. Maybe you were possibly working on Portal at the time, which is the version 1 of Schoolbox. And so we started hanging out. I remember designing a logo for James. I charged him $200. Designed his business's logo, Lec Tech Consulting. I think I designed a website for him as well and some illustrations. Sean coded that up. And then from there we just started working together as a threesome. We hired an office in 2005. And yeah, the rest is history, I guess. So yep, I'm a lucky father to Esther and Vivian, and husband to Sarah, and I've got GIFs of my family. Most devices you can just easily make GIFs now. So yeah, there's little Vivian a couple of months ago, and S. So yeah, my background is I was creative director of Alaris for a long time, and then Sean and James said, what are we going to do with Matt? We need someone to manage the support department. And we had, at the time, we decided, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, James said to us, look, Schoolbox is very popular. It's now or never. It's a great opportunity. At the same time, we were doing websites for schools as well. So we were kind of a digital agency there as well. So we decided to pivot the company, which also meant moving away from a lot of design services that we were offering, graphic design services. But anyway, my background's graphic design. And so I designed the Alaris logo. I'm just giving you a bit about me, FYI. And then the Schoolbox logo as well. I was playing around with a box design, as you can see. Very stereotypical, obvious choice, and it ended up as a whale. And I get a lot of questions on why did we go with the whale? So I figured I would just quickly summarise that. That was what you just saw, the first iteration. a nice 2-colour whale, and then we just minimised it. The reason we chose the whale, a couple of reasons. Schoolbox lives in an environment with other products that use sea creatures. Linux, Penguin, MariaDB, Seal, and the MySQL Dolphin. And then the other day, whilst putting this presentation together, I realised that PHP is an elephant, but they're similar to whales in a way, wouldn't you say? Both mammals, and they're both great communicators. The herds of elephants and herds of whales, incredible communication for animals, and Schoolbox is, a big part of Schoolbox is communicating, so I felt that tied in well, the little elephant, PHP elephant in there, slide it in. Fun fact is out of all the large mammals, whales and elephants have giant brains, whereas a rhinoceros apparently has a tiny pea brain like dinosaurs apparently did. So whales and elephants aren't too dissimilar. Some amazing whale facts. They're all pretty plausible, apart from the one up the top left there, second from the top. Moose preferred prey. Don't really know what that's all about. Another reason we chose the whale is they are the king of the ocean. They preside over the schools of fish and look after them. Here we see a whale shark, which is not a whale, it's a fish. But I did search for whales and fish schools, and all I saw were all it is giant blue whales swallowing up massive gulps of schools of fish. It just was scary. So yeah, and also schools are having a whale of a time. Am I not right? A bit more about me, my background. So design, I designed the Schoolbox brand style guide, which has 16 colours to make up the Schoolbox rainbow. Gives us a lot of flexibility with our marketing. And the other day I saw a tweet, was whales, calm yourself with whales blowing out rainbows, which ties in well with the 16-colour rainbow. Other illustration is my background, and the most recent little bit of graphic we did was V17 Gold. Hand up who's trialled V17. Woohoo! Not many. And who, because it's been available for trial for 2 or so months, who has requested a live upgrade of V17? Anyone? No? You should do it one day. So anyway, now it's taken me to customer success. So my background in design, and then we all thought, let's be the manager. Matt, you can be the manager of the customer success and support team. So I'm in customer success, this is pretty much what we do. There's us and the customers just hugging, and then I'll just slide in there just to oversee it all. And obviously customer success is about bar graphs and jumping for joy. But people do say, what are you talking about when you say customer success? Because it is a strange, what is customer success, people say. Some more funny GIFs I found. But yeah, it's basically putting a smile on the customer's face, making sure they're happy with using our product, making sure that they know how to climb mountains. I found a lot of mountain climbing imagery for customer success. I've only found a few animated ones, but it's about helping the customer achieve their goals. Just like, there we go, there's the customer. And so one of the things we're always looking out for is we want to make sure schools aren't looking to switch, to find a new product, for example. It would be a world of pain, if you're using a large product, then suddenly realise you need to, move away from them. So it's our job to make sure our customers are happy, and we try our best to ensure that they don't churn. So as I've mentioned, this is about GIFs and support. I also took some GIFs of the teammates hard at work the other week. Sophia clearly liked me standing there. Wasn't busy at all. Some of the support team. Speaking of GIFs, how do I find GIFs? It's because they're a good thing to throw in your work. If you're teaching, if you're using Schoolbox, you want to make a pretty page or pretty curriculum material. I just use the, expand the tools of the good old Google search and switch it to animated, and there you go, everything's animated. So nice and simple. There's also, I was going to talk about memes. I don't have a slide for it. Does everyone know what a meme is? It's something that's really funny and used over and over again. There's also meme generators out there. That's a good way to engage students, I would imagine. One of my favourite searches is 80s or 90s. Can get yourself a lot of great things out there. Love those shiny old media company pics. That kind of reminds me of me, this GIF. That's how I see myself. This one's amazing. Politicians are good as well. A lot of funny GIFs out there. And in working with schools, recently on the political studies pages, I see a lot of GIFs of Donald Trump popping up, actually. It seems that there's a lot of lessons to be taught there. Giphy is a nice source of GIFs, which is a site. I'm not sure if some of you know, Schoolbox allows for embeddable media. Any text editor in Schoolbox, you can paste most common services such as YouTube, Prezi, Giphy. You just get the URL of that media and you just whack it in a text editor. So not just text boxes, which I'm showing here, but any text editor, news, any post, and then it will just auto transform it from your link into the media. And there we have Trump's drawn a cat for everyone. Even our support desk portal accepts GIFs now, has a Giphy integration. So as you can see, this client, who happened to be me actually, my server was melting and then I fixed it and reassured the client with a GIF. So yeah, expect to see more GIFs in support where appropriate. Maybe if the server's melting, it's a lot more serious than... I thought we'd have a 10-second interval of GIFs. I'll just grab a drink. Just some pretty GIFs. A rainbow loop. So what's customer success and support? How we operate. So I mentioned before, our aim is, to solve the client's problems. So there's the client with a problem, and helping them achieve their goals. This is our team, pretty much. And this is them day to day, just triaging bugs and just solving problems. This is an old game I used to play on Sega Master System called Golden Axe. So our team, the customer success and support team, we have 15 of us at the moment. A mix of teachers and system administrators and support agents, technical support agents, and of course technical account managers. They'll come to your rescue. We all will. Some of our services, we offer consulting, consoling, and support. We're like your fairy godmother. We hope to be. The support desk opening hours are 8:30 a.m. till 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's the hours that the phones are open, and tickets where they're working on tickets. That's just the general hours. But of course, for critical support, we're always available 24/7. I don't know if anyone from Central Coast Grammar's here. No? Yep. We had David call us up, did a test of our services, maybe 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. the other night. I saw the critical phone. Huh? And so I think Sam responded straight away, and we passed. We were there for David's critical support test. Basically, if you dial us outside of those hours of 8:30 to 6, and it is critical, so that's meant to be a server, I suppose. If your device is burning, that's really not our problem. If it's your server's burning, dial us outside those hours, dial 9, and about 10 of us, our mobiles will ring instantly. So use it with care. We had Sam again. Wherever Sam you are, legend. He answered a call at 2:30 a.m. from one of our Pakistan schools. It was a parent had found our support details and they'd forgotten their password. And Sam's got he's a father with kids, and we don't manage passwords as well. We don't have your passwords because that would be a security risk. Anyway, Sam helped him out, told him to go speak to the person in charge of their Schoolbox instance who has their password. But we're there for you. Call us anytime. It's a pretty rainbow clock with a unicorn. These gifts are hard to come by. We use an issue triage matrix. It's used as a guide, courtesy of Armory from Alaris from our team. So down the left column there are the 3 key areas. How much damage does this issue cause? How disruptive is this issue? How many does it affect? So if you have one or more high, we treat that as high. So obviously data becomes unusable or corrupt or uncreatable, or data that should be private is exposed. Very high critical issues there. Users can't complete core functions of system. If this is something reported only of a dev instance, it's very low priority because it's only affecting 1 or 2 people at the school who are using the test instance. And since it's not a live production instance, it's no problem at all. With medium, if you've got 2 or more, it's classified as medium. And then 1 medium is still low. And then the rest low. No data damage or only informative text is wrong, or no difficulty in entering data. A key thing here is, if there's a workaround, data is misreported, calculations are wrong, but usable or can be created with difficulty. So if there's always a workaround, that's one of the first things we look for when an issue comes into the support team. Is there a workaround? If there is, we'll do our best to communicate that to the requester, and we'll still pass the incident through to the team, the developers to fix, but if there's a workaround, it no longer is as high priority. This is a simulation of a galaxy passing behind a black hole. I don't know why I thought that was relevant. It's not. Priority. And so with the support desk, we have a support desk portal. You can always just send an email. Craig, I know you just like to straight up call and then get us to submit the tickets. You can do that too. We'll submit on behalf of you if you're CBF'd. But I'll go back one slide. And that's fine. So yeah, but priority is... What's that?
So that proves you do listen. Super.
So priority is something that you can set in your requests if you go through the support portal. If you just use email, obviously you can just send a request. If you send it to support@Alaris or support@schoolbox.com.au, it'll just come through and be turned into a ticket, and you'll be getting the correct notifications as that progresses and as we update it. But you can't set priority. It'll come through as low, and so it won't be at the top of the list if it is priority. A lot of people who do prefer the email, because it is probably easier, slightly, they'll put urgent or high in the title, but still we might miss that. So I just wanted to stress here that do your best to try and use the support portal, because there you get to use the submit a request form, and then you can set priority. Or like you could do what Craig does, just call us and just tell us verbally how high priority it is, and we'll put that in for you. So because everyone wants things immediately, done instantly. Cinderella did as well. So whereas to get to the support portal, you can even get there from our website. The Get Help page to the right is the support desk. Just takes you to our we call it the end user portal. And you can also manage your requests. So you can request to have permission to see all requests that your organisation submit. So just say, Craig, you're away. Just having, just on the beach, having a party. James needs to check out some of the things you're working on. We can make it so that you can see all tickets in your organisation. We probably already have that set up for most of you. But as you can see here, there's a priority drop down there that you get to set. So some key things that I highlighted in that last little animated GIF which I created was we need to know some key information when you're submitting tickets, which is where the issue is occurring. So maybe a screenshot. If you're doing a screenshot, leave in the URL so we can see where it is, or just send us the link. What? So what's going on, and then who, which users are affected. Also, be careful not to overload tickets with multiple or separate topics. It's important that each topic is in its own ticket, otherwise it's hard for us to scroll through it all and see what's been solved and what hasn't. And along with that, be sure to give us as much information. So load the ticket up with as much info as possible about the one topic, but not multiple topics. So yeah, it's about helping us help you with these little tips there. Along with support desk, there's our help centre, which we call Schoolbox Help. And so this also uses Schoolbox. There's a shot of the dashboard when I sign in. It's quite similar for you guys and girls as well. Some tips here. I don't know if has anyone ever gone into, who uses the help centre? Schoolbox Help. Awesome. Has anyone configured their notifications so that they get emailed when news is posted about point releases or major releases or forum posts? No? You just left it as the internal message list. That's fine. But I recommend adjusting the news notifications and forum notifications to be instant plus instant email, so that you can keep abreast of our point releases and major releases and other news. Another tip on the side menu in the Help Centre is the Join Groups link. This page is a default page in Schoolbox, every Schoolbox instance. Some schools choose to remove that link from the side, but that's a way to see all the free and moderated groups and just join them. So I recommend going into Schoolbox Help and joining all the questions forums and ideas forums so that you can participate. The questions forums have worked out really well for us. It's designed as a place for schools to ask questions, and our team is subscribed to these forums and will chime in. But we want to leave it so that other schools can help out. And so we are seeing a lot of you amazing people jump in there and answer questions for other schools as well, which is really cool. So we're trying to foster that online community. And we're trying to encourage you to go back to your school and tell all your staff about if they're interested in using Schoolbox, tell them about this space, get them involved so that they can ask questions and get them answered without having to go to the Schoolbox, the project teams that are in charge of managing Schoolbox at your schools. I'm sure you're fielding so many questions about Schoolbox. Well, try and see if you can deflect them to our help centre where other schools are already answering questions. Maybe you could get back some of that time that is being taken up. With the Help Centre is the Ideas Forums, and that's where a lot of our schools post ideas about how we can improve Schoolbox, new features and improvements. I just thought I would highlight some of the posts, the Ideas Forum posts, that were posted over the last couple of years and delivered in the last 8 months. So for version 16.5 you can draft, publish marks, top menu config tool, LTI support. There's some features, and then the ones that aren't highlighted are more improvements. So as you can see there, close to 30 features or improvements delivered in the last 8 months, all because of the participation in the forums. James just before talked about the forums. We can't stress it enough. We do receive a lot of feedback from schools via many other channels, but the forums is a way to kind of aggregate it all, and more of a democratic way as well to get as many people participating so that the results, I guess, are more accurate as to the bigger picture of what all the schools want, what all the schools will get the most value out of. Just recently in V17, we didn't really announce it, you can now delete criteria that's in use, and you can also locate criteria that's in use. Has anyone ever tried to delete criteria for rubrics in the past? It was kind of frustrating because you have to make sure it's not in use, but it didn't tell you where it's in use. So that's a nice little value add, I reckon, a nice little win with V17. Also, homepage news now has times. Has anyone ever had we just discussed in the previous presentation, Craig, but homepage news, maybe someone posted homepage news for the future, and because you couldn't set times, it would then just default to sending after 12 a.m. So someone would get a notification at 4 a.m. when that schedule ran behind the scenes. So now we've added times so you can actually avoid waking people up. But they shouldn't have their phones on anyway whilst they're sleeping. Created versus solved, 30 days. So I'll just go through some stats. For the support desk, on a daily basis, we'll receive roughly 35-40 tickets a day on average. Some days up to 60 and 70, and we'll try and solve as much as we can. Just wanted to show you an insight into how many requests we get via our support desk tickets. Channels, as I mentioned before, you can email or you can use the user portal. In the past, email's always been quite high, maybe 70% of tickets are from the email channel. We've been trying to tell people about the portal so that they can use the priority and we can get a bit better information. So you can see that that's improving. We're getting more requests from the web form. There's currently 900 open tickets in with our support desk. The highest it's ever been is probably 1,500. This is the backlog over the last 2 years. You can see our peak periods are around the end and start of the year and a little bit in the middle of the year. Just some more stats, just some kind of mundane support stats. Oldest ticket is 820 days old. Requested in June 2015. That is to do with we don't often keep tickets open that long. This is an ongoing discussion where we're trying to solve a problem about participation. Anyone from Donvale Christian College in here? Boom. No, so there's rare cases where a school will highlight a problem that all schools are facing, and so James flags it and leaves it open. I think about 6 or 8 months ago, 1 year ago, I went on a tirade and just was solving tickets and trying to, because as our tickets go quite high, we all jump in and try and see where we can find quick wins and tell people, because a lot of tickets are lying around that have been solved 6 months ago by a major release, but we haven't gone back and said, hey, by the way, this is now how you do this. And so I remember going through and I just closed it. What's your name? Brendan, yeah. I remember closing this ticket, and shortly after, I've forgotten who, reopened it and said, this isn't quite done yet, Matt. Josh, yeah, I think it was, yeah, and Paul maybe, yeah. But participation, basically in a nutshell, is with a class list. So if you have a class and you assign work to it, when you go, say, view the status of the due work, you'll see a list of all the students and you can mark them. If, and this is a common occurrence at schools, if a teacher has not completed their marking and the semester rolls over at the end of the year, the class list changes, and if there was no interaction against a student's due work submission box, they're now taken out of that list, and you can no longer, you'll need to now roll back so that they're added so you can mark them. So if no interaction, the students will just be removed and you can no longer complete your work. And you can't expect schools to always just complete their work before the semester ends. So we're looking, and slowly we've been working with Donvale Christian College to look at how participation is handled and make it more of a kind of assessment participation list rather than class lists. And so in 16.5 we released the first part of participation. It is now a thing, it's like an element we've built underlying Schoolbox, and we're slowly working on it. And that, I don't know how long that ticket's going to stay open, but we're slowly getting there. So thank you to you and your team for helping us solve this problem. Tickets per organisation. I just wanted to show this graph because as a team, as a customer success and support team, we do like to look at the amount of open tickets per school, and what we often look for is the ones with the most amount of tickets is great. That means they're it doesn't mean that they've got a lot of issues as such. They're just proactive, and they're chatting to us, and they're engaged, and they're using the product, and then they're finding issues or wanting to talk to us about projects. It's the ones without any tickets that worry us, that could be on risk because there's just lack of engagement. I just thought I'd show you some of the things that we look for. India and the technical account managers have built kind of like a metric system to calculate different service levels and ways of looking at schools that might need more help than others. More stats, median first reply time in the last 30 days, so 2.6 hours it takes us to give a first reply to a request, to a online ticket. Median full resolve time is 148.3 hours. It's about 7 working days, maybe 7 business days, I think. And that's again median. So some tickets, as you see, are 820 days old. Others are sold within a minute. A lot of custom work comes through the support desk as well, so those tickets remain open for a while. Satisfaction. Each time a ticket is solved, the support desk system sends you a quick survey. Are you satisfied with the service? Good, or was it good or bad? We really urge you to partake in those surveys. Then they're optional. You don't have to do it. Some people do. We get a lot of great feedback, whether it was negative or positive. And for a long time we've maintained, based on this survey, we have maintained a high score. Excuse me. But I think the participation rate is maybe 15 or 16% of support requests. People participate in that survey. Craig, have you ever given us good satisfaction?
Verbally, yes.
Awesome. Just call us up once it's solved. That was great. So yeah, please participate in that survey. It's for 5 seconds, good or bad, and if you want, you can write a comment as well. We always see those. We see all of that come through, and we definitely share it around the team and talk about it. We share our wins and we share the failures, and talk with our team how we could have improved, or the customer as well. Often we might follow up bad satisfaction. well, all the time we follow up bad satisfaction and reach out to the customer and talk about it in more in depth. So if you are unsatisfied and you don't want us to call you about it and talk to you about it, I guess if you give bad satisfaction, we'll probably call you up and just see if you're okay. So yeah, a big thank you, a big smooch for everyone who has participated and gives us all that great feedback. Most common request would be the undelete. A lot of people accidentally delete folders, files, activities, which are due work, quiz, task, or project, courses. Entire courses get blown away, and it's no one's fault. Like it's quite easy to blow away a course if you modify it and untick something. All the results are gone. Luckily, everything's soft deleted, so it's just a quick phone call, or in Craig's case, it's a quick phone call or a ticket, and we'll get that sorted out for you. But there's the stats from undeletes per week. So we're hoping to. Here's a nice GIF. I think I showed this one last year as well. It's just the best. So there's been talks for a long time about providing, say, a recycle bin. Nice, simple idea. Hard to develop, I'd imagine, Andy. Actually, Andy here, you designed the script we use now to undelete deletes. Thanks. And I guess you would then be looking to expand that into a feature whenever we get to that stage based on your script.
Potentially, there's a couple of different directions we're looking at the moment.
No timeline, just discussions. But thanks, Andy. Other common requests. We transformed a class into a course. That's just basically they've added the course builder on a class page. It just converts the icon of the page to a course and confuses people. You just remove it and it's solved, but it's quite a common request. We can't see a timetable. We have the wrong timetable. For synergetic schools, more often than not, it's just an incorrect file year semester configuration with the user in synergetic, but they are very common requests. Tickets created year over year, green last year, blue this year, and how it's trending. So as I mentioned earlier, the busier times are at the start of the year. But as we've grown, in a year we've brought on a lot of new schools. We haven't increased the team that much, and you can see the tickets aren't increasing too much this year as compared to last year, which is nice. Same with solved. We're still able to have the same throughput this year with much more schools than we did last year because of product and doc improvements. Reduces reliance on support. So it's the constant product improvements or documentation improvements that we're hoping, I guess, deflect the need for you to contact support and ask for support. In an ideal world, you wouldn't need support, I guess. But there's Voltron. Look at those product improvements. Another great cartoon I grew up with. Also another thank you. So for years we've received tickets from our schools with lack of information, such as a teacher can no longer find their page. And that's all the sentence will say. And so we have an automated response basically that just says, what, where, who, where. But we haven't had to use that a lot recently because a lot of you have gotten really good at providing details in your support requests, which makes for a faster resolve. So thank you very much. Lots of love. Feedback loops. James talked about this earlier. So we have a lot of feedback loops. It's the good and bad satisfaction that I told you about. So thanks for all of that. With the Meetup, we do an end of Meetup survey for you all to fill out and tell us what you thought was good and what was bad. And I got a lot of good and bad satisfaction about my GIF presentations. Hence why we've got streams. If this is what you're into, then here you are. But if you didn't want to watch it, you didn't have to. But thanks so much for all your feedback. Our team kind of strives on listening and trying to implement based on feedback. So yeah, the good and bad survey and the good and bad feedback. Thank you very much. I had a couple of GIFs here about the good, bad and the ugly. And I found one that panned across the eyes of Clint, and then the other two characters, the bad and the ugly. Or was Clint the bad? I think he was the bad. Either way, it finished with a cat, like with crazy eyes. I don't know why my GIF didn't arrive in my... other feedback loops. So we've got the support desk, the surveys, the meetup feedback, meetings. So just meeting with our customers, we get a lot of feedback. Conferences, we get to meet, all of you come up to us and hang out. Craig, I think you've done at-length presentations at our stands at conferences and bringing other schools together, talking about education and technology. There's James chatting to some folks. So yeah, conferences are another great feedback loop for us. I was mentioning the forums earlier. Make sure you register to vote in our forums. So they are a big source of feedback. As I pointed out earlier, find the join groups thingo in the side menu, join all the groups, the forum groups, and then vote. To vote, you just comment, and that'll just be counted as your vote. If it's a positive comment, maybe you say, I disagree with this, then we won't count that. So far, roughly 100 features and improvements delivered via the forums. It was released in 2015. Late 2015. Another good feedback loop for us, which someone touched on earlier, is dog fooding, which is a term from the old, and I talked about it last year. In the 50s, the dog food companies would use scientists on their ads eating the dog food, saying it's so good that we would eat it. And so it's about using your own product. So not only do we use it to troubleshoot the issues that you report to us, but we use Schoolbox as our internal intranet. And so we're even building courses in there for inducting teammates, lots of communication, lots of groups. So, and out of this use, we find issues with it and ways to improve it as well. And the same thing we're doing with our help centre, Schoolbox Help, is Schoolbox as well. A recent issue that that arose from using Schoolbox Help was we have about 17,000 users in it now, and we found that all those users just blew it up. It fell over on some of the key pages. It was just trying to squish too many people in at one time. It wasn't designed for that, and it kind of died. And we all jumped on it quickly within a day or so. Or actually longer than that, I would say. We had fixed a lot of things to do with performance of Schoolbox. So, for example, the pending assessments page that teachers view, because our teachers who use Schoolbox to mark you guys completing the online teacher course, you might have a list that scrolls forever, or the mark book might have some of the schools completing our online course have 200 plus people in the class, and so the mark book would just freeze and crash. So it's just a few examples of how we've ran into problems by using the product ourselves and being able to fix them. Sales is another feedback loop. This is one of those sales things, that attracts you to a product. Sales, we meet with a lot of prospective schools, and even the schools that don't end up choosing Schoolbox, we get a lot of feedback from them. Obviously that happens as well, I'm not going to lie, and we get great feedback from those schools as well. And we definitely get back to them as well once we have implemented their feedback and just go, hey, how you going? Remember us? We've done that now. So the sales is a fantastic feedback loop. As James mentioned in his previous talk, when new schools are coming on board, we'll often build features that they were looking for as well, because it helps us expand into other markets as well. The support desk is a great feedback loop, as I've already mentioned. One of the cool things from all this feedback is we find out ways to automate a lot of the support tasks and the developer tasks and the tasks you do as well with Schoolbox. Some of those key features or improvements that we've delivered is the UPS, the user provisioning system. We no longer need to build sync scripts to sync your users, to provision your users. It's now, we provide the UPS system. Our developers don't have to spend all that time. We don't. The power's now back in your hands. The skin config, another tool that we used to provide design services to design skins and build them and manage your branding for you. Now you can do it all through the skin config. Date and time format, localization of date and time, term views, so ways to look at your data in the views that work with you, whether it's term, semester, annual. Permissions health check, just a quick, you click a link on the homepage of the administration system which shows you the permissions, the health of them all, are any not set up correctly. File year, semester is another piece of data we've placed in the homepage of the administration dashboard, just to check a user's. When you're modifying a user, it's there, and that was again a task that support would have to perform quite often for you, or you would have to go and check up in the database. Top menu. A lot of schools didn't like the resources being available for some of their users, mainly parents, so we built the top menu builder. The side menu reorganizer as well. Some people wanted, say, the portal links that by default come first to be rearranged so that the class links would be first, so we released that just in the last major release, 16.5. ePortfolio deployment. Build a page, an ePortfolio page, and then you decided, oh gosh, I need to set this page up for all the students, or all these students in a particular year. We built the ePortfolio deployment tool in the admin area, so now you can easily deploy ePortfolios. Terminology, couldn't think of a GIF, but they're pretty upside down whale will do. Terminology is V17, a way for you to customize some key terminology, localize it to your requirements. So in the admin system there's a list of about 20, say, grades and EOTC, a whole lot of different terms that you might use differently at school, so you can customize it and it'll update it throughout the whole product. Custom sign-in, we finally made a lot more configurable items for the sign-in page and the password reset functionality. Media queue, new to version 17. Previously you'd always have to call support and say, well, you still do until you upgrade to V17, and say this video didn't process, and we would have to open a ticket, or Craig would just call up and it would be solved as fast as we could, as quickly as we could. So now we've developed the media queue tool, which is another super user administration tool. It shows you all the videos that are processing that have failed, and you can just restart the ones that have failed. The importer tools for schools that don't use databases, external databases, or new schools that come on board and first just want to manually import their data. We built the importers. Synergetic reports button is a new one in V17. For Synergetic only, they have a Synergetic academic reports module. If set up in Synergetic, and there's a guide in Schoolbox Help on how a button will appear on the student's profile. For parents, I think it is, to go into Synergetic and check out their academic reports. I mentioned earlier the find or delete criteria in use. Another thing that you would have to call support for, and we would have to spend time working it out. Where's this in use criteria, and fixing that up for you. Alrighty, support requests. How am I for time? Doing well. Custom versus feature. I just thought I would quickly touch on custom work and some of the kind of key requirements we look for. So here are some of the reasons a school might request custom work. You don't want to wait for a particular feature that may or may not be delivered via our chosen future development roadmap. You require a new feature specific to your school. Often that's to do with reporting. You have a specific custom reporting requirement, so that can't become a core feature. It's custom for your school. You require a slight tweak to how Schoolbox currently handles the workflow, for example, an integration with a third-party system. Interface changes, look and feel, templates, again, custom to you, or you're willing to engage our paid professional services team. And some reasons that we might, custom work might not be considered custom work. We might reject custom work. The request cannot be built to stand alone from the core product. So that's an important one there. A lot of requests come in and we just can't deliver them custom for the school. They can only be done as a core, as part of the core product. So it'll just have to fall into our roadmap. And so that's where we defer it to the forums to get some traction on that idea. We'll post it for you on your behalf, and we'll hopefully get some votes and it'll be delivered in the roadmap. The request cannot be implemented in a way that can be toggled on or off by our existing customers. The request would negatively impact user experience. The request adds little to no value to an existing workflow. We cannot agree to a scope of work. The request is not a fit for our chosen product direction. Release cycles. I think James touched on them briefly, but with Schoolbox you get 2 a year, 2 major releases a year. You'll notice that version 17 was a bit late. Sometimes we run over a little late when we, I guess, bite off sometimes more than we can chew. And then along the way there's point releases as frequently as we can release them. And as I mentioned earlier, the peak periods. The previous release, 16.5, we tackled refactoring the submissions area, which was a huge task and it kind of blew up Schoolbox when we released it. It was also released fairly late. Instead of November, it came January, which is peak period for schools starting the year. Caused a lot of problems. So although this occurs, we try our best to avoid it. So yeah, this release we're working on is, as James said upstairs, going to be quite short. We've got about 4 weeks. New teacher course, just delivered. And the topics of the teacher course covers orientation and introduction, calendar, news, timetable and attendance, courses for junior, senior classes, page types, groups, flipped instruction, marking and assessing student view of course, outline, using rubrics, learning, analytics and statistics, continuous reporting. Who has a subscription to the online teacher course? Nice. Who's a hero? Sick. Oh, the new one. I'm not of the new one either, actually. Nice. The new course is modular, so you can choose if you're marking attendance, for example. You might want to, so you tailor the course to teach your teachers how to mark attendance. So it can be, if you're more a junior school, you can just do tailor your course to be just for junior school teachers, or vice versa, senior school, or both. The online teacher course, so yeah, that's our online training tool for teachers. A great thing about the course is you get teacher feedback. So we have teachers in our team, and every time you submit to this online course, they review your work and give you feedback. They mark it with a rubric and give you a nice comment, and that's quite helpful. And finally, we're almost there. The most popular features at the moment would have to be self-assessment and peer assessment. Prevent people from moving components inadvertently. Who has to deal with that at their school? Is that a major problem? It's not major at all, but it's popular. Who's looking forward to a self-assessment and peer assessment functionality? Freeze, pain for Markbook. James just showcased, presented upstairs that he's looking at doing that with the team. Late submissions, add a due work source in the calendar, update, modify course content and have it. This one's a big one, a linked course activity. So if you create an activity in a course, it cannot be edited on the class page, it can only be edited at the course level, and when it is, it updates on all the class pages. And finally, group email to parents. So that is it. Thank you for listening to my speech and watching GIFs. And any questions? It's a good question. There is a usage area, storage area. I'm just wondering, you can't search the storage area, can you? Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, and the name. Just a link to the person. Maybe just like their phone number and email. Yeah, an instant message. That's good feedback. So there is a storage area, and that tells you which person owns the file. I don't know how you find the file via the storage area. The only way would be in the storage area, you can, the first screen shows you all of the biggest. Can you sort by? Can you sort by type? Can you sort by video? I'm going to post it in the forums for you. Or you can if you'd like. Would you like me to, or will you? Sick. Thanks. Any other questions? Yeah, fire away. Not always. Quite often I'll tell you, Craig, let's log a ticket. I've tried and convinced you to log a ticket many times. I think you've done it a fair few times. Nope. But no, sometimes that we can just solve it right there. So you can call support. Not everything requires a ticket. If it's more complicated, it can't be fixed right there, we'll always follow it up with a ticket, whether you or we do that. Tickets created, but not always. So sometimes just... Yeah, they were ticket stats. We haven't integrated. You could get the phone system integrated into the support desk so that every phone call it turns into a ticket, but we haven't thought that. We don't feel like that's necessary. But yeah, feel free to call any time. Small questions, dumb questions, anything, and we'll try and solve it right there for you over the phone. No ticket required. Yeah, cool. Let's go back. We'll go back. What's that? And I should point out that these are just the features and improvements from these two major releases that were posts. So there are a lot more in these major releases, but I'm just trying to highlight the ones that we do listen to the forums and try and deliver them. So V17, Docman integration. I'm actually thinking now that was 16.5. Do you know much about that, Andy? Do I have any other developers in the room? I'm actually now thinking that's incorrect, and it was released.
But now there's a button that now appears on the student profile only just.
Okay.
So what was initially that was a custom work for one school. Now it's become
Okay, and that was only about a month ago in 16.5 or something, yeah. Oh, and core is 17, I see. So what was your question specifically about it?
What does it mean and what do you actually give the document configuration? Does it just take you to document? Is that what it does?
Do you want me to answer this?
Do it, yeah. Thanks, bro. You've got me covered.
So originally we have SSO introduced in the portal, and then we had the ability, this is going back some time, then we had the ability to deep link to specific tags within the portal. What this was is further to that, for each child being able to deep link to a tag for that child. So that would mean from anywhere, you basically have a URL that links to one of your 3 children as a parent, your first child's reporting strength, your first child's contact details, or attendance record, things like that. So that's where we had it. We sort of set up those links. That was custom code. It wasn't core. What that now does is allows you to just turn it on in the admin system, and on the student's profile for the parents, there can be a button which just appears that says assessment report. So it goes grade, portfolio, timetable, calendar, assessment report. And when you click that, it will SSO and deep link into that child's document and use their assessment report, so there's no report.
Right. So
It's
the
a
document.
transition to continuous reporting again.
Yep.
You still have that workflow.
It was not so clear to see like a reply to a comment, so we've just inserted it. Oh, Stuart. Hey, Stu. What are the improvements to the social stream? Sick.
It just makes it more clear on the reply of the post and also a reply of the reply. It just makes it more
So I've gone over the GIFs, we made it, and then some. Thanks, everyone.